Hi everyone. Wow, this is Khaled and I were having too much fun talking, so we decided to start it. But boy, Khaled, we've been talking about how upside down just one simple affair in the sports world has turned the sports world upside down. So boy, and you work for a site, and it's been going. You said it literally crashed the site.
Yeah, yeah, and of course, this is the Sharon Moore affair up in Michigan, and it seems like the Wolverines can't stay out of the news for all the wrong reasons. Since winning the title, was it 3, 4 years ago? That Jim Harbaugh had to leave. They had a bunch of suspensions for the cheating stuff, and then you get a different kind of cheating this time around, where a coach can't, help himself around some executive assistants or grad students, whatever her role was, and it's gotten real messy. And yeah, over at Black Sports Online, our chief editor Robert Little has been covering. He's been all over the story, and it's been crashing the back end. I was trying to write a story this morning, and I wasn't able to get into the site. It's probably one of the craziest stories in college football, which is already a crazy, crazy place. So it topped the Lane Kiffin story pretty quickly. I'm sure Lane Kiffin is happy that
Well,
he's not in the news anymore.
I saw Lane Kiffin memes, and they said he may be the next coach to go, and those are alleged rumors. But uh, haven't you ever wondered when you look at these teams, all the trainers, all the assistants, all the helpers are all young girls, pretty college girls. Does anyone else think that's danger? I mean, remember Petrino when
Yeah.
he got in a moped wreck and he's with a young girl that was going to college there, and it's it's just powerful men and young girls, young women don't mix.
Yeah.
It's
These
just
guys are like cult leaders almost at some point with the amount of fame and adoration that's around them. And they got to do a better job controlling themselves because all this is, he was not quite on top of the world. They lost to Ohio State, but he was making $5, $6 million a year coaching a blue blood college football program. And it all came crashing down because of some bad decisions he made in his personal life. So, yeah,
crazy.
it's
And
bad news.
it's not even, I mean, this is how sick we become kind of as a society with all the fanboy, fangirl stuff. There's a high school coach that is still missing that supposedly had a tete-a-tete with, I don't know, a couple cheerleaders or whatever. High school. He's still missing. He's on the lam.
Right.
He's
He's in
missing, and
Virginia, I think, right?
yeah, he's being,
Yeah.
yeah, Virginia. He's being charged, and their team is vying for the state championship. I guess they won last year. The last few years they've really been great in Virginia, and they're undefeated again. I think, and they're in the playoffs. I think they're in the quarterfinals or semifinals, and they're looking at a state championship. And the coach is nowhere to be found. So, oh man, come on, we got to do better out there, guys. Uh, oh my God. But, and also, final thing, uh, Coach DeBoer from Alabama is now rumored to be going to Michigan. He has denied it, but whenever a coach denies it, the most famous denial was Nick Saban when he scolded the media and said, "I'm not leaving, so shut up. I don't want to talk about it anymore." And then the next day, he was on a plane to Alabama.
Yeah.
So,
It's like that. I think it was at Shakespeare, like "Thou dost protest too much."
yeah.
So if you're that passionate about your denial, I mean, I don't know why he would. Alabama is pretty much as good as it gets in college football, but there is a ton of money on the Michigan side. You got, well, I think is it Stephen Ross, I believe, is the owner of the Dolphins. He's putting a ton of money trying to build that program and do all that. But I mean, it's also nicer. It's pretty warm down in Alabama, down in Tuscaloosa, versus being up
No, I hate
in Ann
I don't
Arbor.
like, yeah, I don't like the South, but the weather's just, the summers are just too brutal for me. But Michigan, Oh my gosh, you get those Great Lakes. That is so freaking cold. I don't get all that stuff. I'm a wimpy Californian, so I can't handle all that junk. But well, the only thing with DeBoer is Alabama, they do not like losing. And if you
Yep.
talk to half of their fan base, they've already lost the first round. So they're ready for next year. I mean, they think they have no chance of winning, and it's the standards there. LSU and Alabama are the craziest places for college football. It's insanity.
It's a religion. It's a cult.
I'll never forget the story. Tom Tolbert and KMBR said it, and he said there was a story of a man whose daughter was having a really bad relationship with one of the star linebackers for Alabama. And I guess, I don't know if they're abusive to each other, but it was really crazy. So he got arrested. And her father went to court to stand up for him. And afterward, he got probation, so he got to play. And they were on a bye or something. I don't know what was happening. So he got to play, and the media couldn't believe it. And they asked him, "Do you have anything to say, sir?" And he said, "Roll Tide." That's all he said.
What else is there to say?
Oh my God. That's religion, man.
Yep.
But anyway, I could go on with college stories all day, but let's get into it. Boy, is Travis and I mean, is Taylor and Travis, are they going to make it? I mean, now he's on a losing team. Are the Chiefs toast? Is everyone smiling for a reason? I was told the other day that if you love that they're struggling, you're a sick person. I mean, the Chiefs fans are losing their minds.
Yeah.
Are the Chiefs just flat out, done? There is a lot of football to be left, but are they just flat out done?
The one hope that they have is that Indianapolis is probably going to fall off. They brought in Phillip Rivers, which has been a great story this week. It's been a lot of fun seeing him doing press conferences and stuff. He's a middle-aged dad that just came off the bench. It's
Got like 73 kids.
Yeah, it's like the plot of a Disney movie, right?
Yeah.
He's a high school football coach and all that. That's probably their only saving grace. But you just look at the rest of the AFC. So the Chiefs are 6-7. There's 4 games left. Even if they go 10-7, that would require Houston to drop out because Houston's 8-5, and Buffalo and the Chargers are both 9-4. So
yeah,
they just got to split their last 2 games. And I think it's at that point, even if the Chiefs go 10-7, which there's no guarantee they will, since they do have the Chargers this weekend. I think if that happens, then it's officially like the nail in the coffin. They'll be 6-8, and then that's done. But even if they go 10-7, I think they'll still be on the outside looking in, just because the other teams are probably gonna at least Houston. Well, if Houston goes 10-7 as well, they have the tiebreaker because of the head-to-head. So I just think they're just gonna be on the outside looking in, which is great for Travis Kelce. He'll have more time to plan the wedding, which I think has already been planned. I forget the date. I saw it floating around. They officially sent out their save the dates, so I think he'll be excited for a longer off season.
Taylor feels they should dress it down a little bit. It's a little bit too extravagant. So she says she wants to dress it down. So I'm looking at that just intently. But what was I going to say? I think the Chiefs they are in shock. They just thought they could turn it off and on. Pacheco's not the same player. Their run game isn't the same. Mahomes has struggled. I think he's doing way too much. He's trying to be the savior. I think if I were them, I would go back to trying to run the ball more, trying to be more conservative. Don't pass every play. I think that teams just are literally almost daring them to run, and they won't run.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's really a mess. Kelce is not the same player. He's definitely slower, and he's not the same player, and he's struggling mentally and physically. He's really, not happy on the field, obviously. So I think I'm a history of the Raiders, so I love when the Chiefs do anything bad. So, there's no love lost there. But I think this is what the NFL wants. Fans kind of like the dynasties, but I think in general, NFL, if everyone was 8-8, 8-9, or 9-8, they would be so happy. That's
Mhm.
what they want. They want
They
everyone kind
want
of being
parity. They
in the
want
middle.
everyone to think that they have a shot. Yeah.
Are the Colts done? I mean, remember we were talking 3 weeks ago. I had
Yep.
them possibly going to the Super Bowl if they stayed healthy. But like we told Isaac, hey Isaac, how's it going? He's listening. I told Isaac from for the fun NFL podcast that you don't know what's going to happen with injuries, with everything else. People could get hurt. Key players if a quarterback goes out, and what happened? The quarterback is out. Teams are now daring them to throw. They're trying to take away the run. Are the Colts pretty much done now?
Yeah. Official, I think, rest in peace to their season. Daniel Jones, the last couple weeks, was not the same guy. I mean, obviously, with the fracture in his leg, it only seemed like a matter of time before things would go bad. And just crazy enough, or ironically enough, it was the other leg that was probably overcompensating for the injury in his I think it was his right leg, and then he tore the Achilles in his left. So that's usually how it happens, right? You're overcompensating for one injury, and it leads to a more severe one. I like Riley Leonard. I think he's an interesting, athletic quarterback. Maybe if they had an easier schedule, they could have made this work. Philip Rivers, great story, like we said, but he's 44, hasn't played in the NFL since 2020. Like, he's on the Hall of Fame ballot, so it's been 5 years for him. Um, so again, great story. I hope he does get some snaps in. But you look at their schedule; they're going to Seattle this week. They get San Francisco, who's in a playoff hunt, and then they get Jacksonville and Houston, two
Yeah.
teams that they, obviously in their division. They're also fighting for a playoff spot. So it's not like they get a bunch of cupcakes to round out their schedule. So it's crazy to think, but considering how they started, but I think 8-9 is on the cards here. And now they're going to have to start asking themselves, what do we do with Daniel Jones long term? Because he seemed like the answer for a while, but maybe it works out. Maybe they get him at a discount. But I think for 2025, it's a wrap for the Colts.
Plus, an Achilles is worse than a knee. Achilles is easily out a year, if not more. So he's not going to be here literally to the end of next year, to near the end of next year. So they're going to have to find some sort of answer without him. I think with this injury, this may be kind of his swan song at the Colts because they're going to have to replace him. There's no way he's going to be ready for next year. So I'm not a big Daniel Jones fan. I think they started realizing it. NFL just doesn't get it sometimes where every pass he did was a 3-step drop. I mean, it was just super quick. Don't think, just you're going to throw an out, you're going to throw a quick in. I mean, it was just like very robotic, and I would have stacked the line, make him throw deep, and that's it. And I think that teams are starting to finally do that, and it worked. Speaking of cupcakes, no one's talking about, but the AFC South is in the easy part of their schedule with a lot of these teams. They right now may be in the driver's seat of all the NFL. I mean, boy, they got some cupcake games left for some of these guys. They may be the strongest division right now.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that I think the Chiefs are done, because Houston is now the 7th seed and they're 8-5, and they have a pretty easy schedule to wrap things up, right? But also the Jaguars, they beat Indy this weekend. They're 9-4, leading the division. They get the Jets, Denver, which obviously is a tough one, especially going to Denver. They get the Colts again. I know usually the winner in that series is the home team, but considering the quarterback situation, that's probably a win. And then they get Tennessee, who is probably just waiting out the season, hoping that they don't go 3-17, 3-14, whatever it is. They're probably going to get the number 1 pick. And then Houston on the other side of it, they have Arizona, who has given up on the season. They get Las Vegas, who has also given up on the season, and then they round out with the Chargers and Indy. So I think 3-1, 4-0, considering how good their defense is not off the table. And a 12-win season is is possible for both of these teams, considering they don't play each other anymore. Which I think if you look back 6-7 weeks ago, it seemed like Indy was going to run away with things. Houston was in a free fall. The Jags were like kind of middling. And I think we've talked about it many times, but it's crazy how quickly like fortunes can change and division standings can get completely flipped upside down in just a space of like a month.
I really like the Jaguars. I think Etienne, I always have had since he was at Clemson, had problems speaking his name, but Etienne is like a rocket. I've never seen him so fast. He's running with just purpose. I love what the Jaguars are doing. They're that team you really can't bet on
Yeah.
because they are just so psycho, and they're just so uh, that 1 minute they're beating the best team and the next minute Cleveland's beating them. I mean, it just goes, they're just so crazy of a team. But I'm telling you, if they can keep their head on, not throw the ball 40 times a game, run the ball, be conservative with their pass game, their defense I love. I think they're going to really go far. I still am not sold on the Bills. I know everyone's in a Josh Allen mode, but boy, their defense isn't cutting it. They're playing a little bit better, but boy, I'm telling you, I think the AFC South is really going to do. Watch out for Houston. I know that Stroud throws off his back foot every pass, but I mean he and Love. But boy, I'm telling you, he's a poised guy, good leader. I like those guys. I like both Houston and Jags.
That defense is for real. We've seen it a few weeks now, or more than a few weeks, I should say. But they made the Bills' offense look, like a high school offense. They went into KC, they shut down Mahomes and that offense, who I think they've been averaging, in the mid 20s. So they shut them down. I think they held them to like 10 or 15 points. So that defense is legit. And with a defense like that, it gives you a lot of breathing room on offense. And I think they have some kinks to work out, whether it's just getting Stroud back in the mix. But they're starting to get healthy on the outside. He has weapons. Woody Marks looks like a legit running back, franchise type running back. So yeah, they're 12 wins is not out of the picture for them. They're again currently 8-5 with 4 games to go. They could win that division, and all of a sudden they're hosting a playoff game. And that pass rush in front of that home crowd, like even if they're a wild card team, can you imagine you're the 2 seed and your reward is getting chased down by Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson for 40 plays a game. So that defense is legit, and credit to D'Amico Ryans for building up that defense and having the best defense in the NFL.
And they could rush the passer with only four guys. A lot of these teams are rushing the passer. Denver sometimes over, but they blitz a lot. There's a lot of teams that are blitzing and getting pressure on the quarterback, but I love the teams. To me, the key on defense with the new rules making passing so easy is you got to get a pass rush with four guys. You need all those guys in the pass defense. So, and that's what both teams can do, Jacksonville and Houston. And I really like their coaching. They're going to make some noise, big time noise. I think Buffalo's going to be in trouble. The Chiefs are not going to be a factor, and Baltimore's been real disappointing. But I think part of it is they've had their injuries. It always seems like they have a key injury, and Jackson's not the same guy. He's been beat up, and you figure he's been taking a lot of hits over the years. So I've been a little disappointed in them, but it
Yeah,
should be interesting.
I was going to say the Ravens took advantage of the soft part of their schedule, which
Hmm.
I think a lot of people talked about after the bye. They won 5 in a row, and then things got tough, right? They went into Cincinnati, or I should say, they played Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, which was unfortunate for them because it was his first game back. But it was Thanksgiving. These midweek games are always a little funky. And then, of course, they lose to Pittsburgh last week. And then you're getting into like the real meat of the schedule where they're playing Cincinnati again. So not a pushover. The Patriots, currently the best team in the AFC, and then Green Bay and Pittsburgh, both road trips in the cold, in the snow, most likely. So it's funny because 7-8 weeks ago I was talking about you guys should just tank and get a
Yeah.
better draft pick, and people got upset at me. They're like, no, that's not what the Ravens do. They have an easy schedule, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, they did have an easy schedule and they picked up 5 wins on the hop, but now it's getting tough, and all of a sudden, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose the rest of these games, or if they go 1-3 and all of a sudden you're back where you started with a 7-10 record when you could have had, I don't know, a 4-12 record and got a better draft pick. But yeah, so that
I
it
think
just,
Lamar's window, I think he's still going to be a good player, but I think his window's closing. He has just taken so much beating, so much of a beating because he runs so much. And I think that's the problem with running quarterbacks is you look at Dante Culpepper and you look at all the past uh,
Cam Newton.
great
Yeah.
running quarterbacks. They got hurt. They just got beat up. Steve Young, before he came to the 49ers. The guy ran all the time. And finally they said, chill out, dude. Stop running every play because you're going to get killed. And I think that's the problem when you have and a lot of these running backs, I think John Gruden told Jackson Dart, you're going to get killed. You can't run
And he
like that
has
in the
been getting, yeah,
NFL.
he's been getting killed
Yeah.
out there.
He's taking horrible hits, and
Yeah.
you just can't do that. You got to be smart. You look at people like, Josh Allen was that way. He would always hit people head on, and it was cool, and the fans liked it. But he realized, man, I'm getting beat up here, so he
Yeah.
slides even a
He
lot of
saves
times.
it.
So
And he saves
yeah,
it for the big moments. Like when I really
hmm
need to use, all 250 pounds of my frame, I'm gonna use it. But he does usually make the smart play, which he definitely wasn't doing early in his career. And I think like Cam Newton is probably the best example I can think of a quarterback that just
yeah.
took way too many hits. And at his peak, he's an MVP, but at 31, 32, when some guys are entering their prime, he was just so beat up that he was, washed up probably earlier than most of these other quarterbacks are.
And going back, and this is the problem I think with a lot of these people. Like people were losing their mind over Shuck for the Saints. I mean, the guy threw I think for 125 yards.
Yeah.
What a great game he had. These quarterbacks are not that good of passers. They're not. They're overwhelmed by the zones. They're overwhelmed by the defense. Cam Ward gets that way. I mean, unless you're playing a bad team, it'll be a lot easier. But so they can run and they run really well. So it kind of masks their problems. I know with Caleb Williams, some of these games that he's not thrown very well, he's ran great. But again, that's what you have to look at. You have to look at the passing. Riley, as we go back to the Colts, Riley might be the best runner of all the quarterbacks, all the young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
At Notre Dame, what a great runner.
Hell of an
Passing,
athlete. Yeah.
ordinary,
Exactly. Yeah.
average passer, but running the ball. So I would do the same offense as I did with God,
Jones.
I'm bad on it. Jones with Daniel Jones. I would run the same offense because I think Riley. I don't want Riley sitting back there in 5 and 7 step drops. I want it out of his hand, and if it's not out of his hand, look to run. And if the Colts play him right, and they do have good coaching, they may end up better than people think because Daniel Jones is not a great quarterback. So it will be interesting how they did have a couple injuries in their offensive line, which hurt them a little bit. So hopefully those guys stay healthy. So that will be interesting. The Bears fans were on cloud nine for a few weeks, and then they came back down to earth. Are the Bears just they're lucky because they had an easy schedule? Were they overrated? What do you think? The Packers are the best team in that division, but
Yeah.
where do you think the Bears stand right now?
I will say that I was really impressed with them in that game, especially in Green Bay. It comes down to the last play where they drew it upright, and if he puts a little more air on that ball, we're having a different conversation right now, and they have 10 wins. I think similar to not completely the same as the Chiefs, but I think it's going to come down as like a numbers game in the NFC where unless you're getting 11, 12 wins, then you're just going to be on the outside looking in. And if I said a few weeks ago, if they go 2-1 in this stretch where they split with Green Bay and beat Cleveland, then they'll obviously be in better shape because they'll have 11 wins and they'll be able to bank a couple before going to San Francisco and playing Detroit, which are, obviously not pushovers. So
Yeah.
it's just, I don't think they had an easy schedule because they did beat some good teams, right? They did beat
Mhm.
Pittsburgh. That's a playoff team or looks like a playoff team. They beat Philly in Philly, which is looking a little less impressive these days.
Yeah.
But they still went into the home of the defending champs, and they put a whooping on them. It was not a close game. It was even a bigger margin of victory than the score suggested. So I was impressed with them. If they do beat Green Bay in Chicago, which is very possible, they just need to handle business against Cleveland, which is a trap game. If they get to 11 wins, I think they're in. But if they don't win one of these games against Green Bay, then I think they're in trouble.
Yeah. I Caleb Williams has had an okay year. The problem is with fans, if their team wins, it's the quarterback.
Yeah.
If the team loses, it's the coaching or it's the other players. This is kind of the fanboy culture we got right now. If you love a player, he's perfect. It's just everybody else's fault. And I think that I like Caleb. I'm an Oklahoma fan, so I loved when Caleb was there. But like I said, I think he's playing okay. I think what I love about the Chicago Bears is they put him in situations where it's not all about him. It's not him winning the game. Their offensive line is playing lights out. They are playing aggressive, physical. They could run the ball. I love their defense. They are playing really good football. The Bears are a good football team, better than they thought they would. And as long as they keep Caleb in the 150 to 200 yard range of passing yards, I think they'll be fine. I think it's when they start throwing 30 and 40 times when they get in trouble. I don't want Caleb Williams. I don't want that ball in his hands to win the game. I want to already have the game won. I want to run the game. I want to wear teams down. If you look at Philadelphia, they out-physicaled them in Philly, which is very difficult to do. And so do I think the Bears are a good team? Yes. Do I think Caleb's a great quarterback? No. He's an okay quarterback.
Yeah,
but that's all they need. They don't need him to be a superstar. Make a couple great throws a game. The rest, don't make mistakes. Don't throw the ball away. Don't fumble.
I think he needs to run more. I think I mean, if you look at he's an escape artist. There was some stat they mentioned it during the last game where like he's escaped the most sacks in the NFL, something crazy like that. Which you see the athleticism, but what I'm really, really concerned about, if I'm a Caleb Williams guy, I thought he should have been the number one pick. My concern is the accuracy. Is like the last like I would say the last 6 games, he hasn't been over 60% since the Baltimore game in October. So if you're an NFL quarterback, you can't be completing 50% of your passes. Like that is it's very worrying, especially in an offense where you have a really good coordinator that's drawing up. Like this guy turned Jared Goff into a superstar. So your concern is Caleb Williams going to be able to fix the accuracy issues? Is it weather related, which is not a good thing if you're playing in the NFC North, and you're playing in Chicago. I know half of those games are in a dome because you're going to Minnesota and Detroit, but if you got to go up to Green Bay, playing at home games in Chicago, it's called the Windy City for a reason. Like that stuff is starting to worry me, like long term, the accuracy for him, because he's got the tools. He's got a great arm. He's super athletic, but if you can't complete your passes at like a 63% clip, like on a regular basis, it's like, I don't know how viable you are as like a long-term, like superstar type quarterback.
I think he doesn't have confidence throwing over the middle. In 2 games, he had easy touchdowns, and he threw like 5 yards out of the way, and it was really bad. I forget the one game where they tied it up, and they could have easily got a touchdown to win the game, and he had an easy throw, and he just threw it way over the guy's head. I think when he throws on the corners and on the sides, he's better. Over the middle, he just doesn't seem to have good mechanics. He likes to throw the ball sideways. And he likes to he waits too long. I think sometimes there's guys are open and he'll wait, and then he'll throw it at them when they're open, when he should have been throwing at it before they got open.
With some anticipation.
And I think that's something that he needs to work on. I like Caleb. I think he's going to be a solid NFL quarterback for a long time, but there are some definite things he needs to work on. Now, College game, boy, it's taken over all the headlines for all the wrong reasons. But also the playoffs, there's still some battling about the playoffs. But uh, I think what I loved is Indiana's defense and offensive line showed, because everyone had Ohio State beating Indiana. I think the line was 8 points, 7.5 or 8 points or something like that. And Indiana beat up Ohio State. I mean, they were really physical. And I had never seen that, even with Texas. I never saw that with Ohio State. Indiana is for real. And Indiana has two of the best wide receivers. If you haven't been able to get to check them out, Surratt and I forget the other guy who's amazing. If it's anywhere near them, they catch it. I mean, I've never, and they're physical. Twice, Ohio State defenders had the ball in their hands on the ball, and the guys just literally took it away from them. Indiana is the best kept secret in football. They are so talented, and I think they're my favorite to win it. I just
Be a
and
hell of a
everybody's
story if
just
they do.
yeah, because Ohio State is still favored to win it. Indiana, I believe, is the third or fourth team favorite. So they're not even, the top two teams. You're really high on Mendoza. What did you
Yes,
think
I
about
am.
his play against Ohio State?
Oh man, I was so excited to watch that game just because I wanted to see how this dude responds to, one of the best defenses in college football. And
Mm-hmm.
he started off a little shaky in the first quarter. He got lit up on the first play, which was a clean hit. I don't think there was some debate, but I think he could have protected himself a little bit better. So lesson learned there. He throws a pick on a pretty bad decision where he should have seen the defender in the flat before he makes that throw. But after that, he was just lights out. He is so gutsy and poised, and like I feel like he has all the intangibles while also, of course, having all the physical tools. I know we've talked that the NFL is too obsessed with size and all that, but he does have that as well. I do think it's important to be able to take some punishment, which he definitely did against Ohio State. And I was just, no matter what happens in the college football playoff, I was like, I'm sold on this guy. He's the best quarterback in this class, and he should be the number one pick. Assuming, of course, it's a team up there that's looking for a quarterback. So probably not Tennessee, but I'm sold 100%.
I liked him too. I thought the first half he was a little overwhelmed. I think the interception was a horrible throw. He did miss two passes that he should have hit. He had 87 yards passing in the first half, and he looked, not too good. He threw some deep passes. He reminds me of Drake May a little bit, where if you give him time and he could step up, he really is accurate. And I think that that's what I liked about him. He is very uncomfortable when he's rushed, and in the pocket, if you noticed, he gets happy feet. There was a bunch of times I rewatched the game a couple times on the highlights, and when he got rushed, if they were in his face, he would get nervous and he would just start running around, and he looked a little uncomfortable. So he's got to get a little bit better pocket awareness. I think he's a project. I don't think he's like this icon that's going to start the day one, but I think he has a lot of intangibles. He's got a good personality. He's a good leader. I like him. I don't know if I would do a first round pick on him. I would do second round for sure, but I think he does have potential. And the guy that everybody is writing off is Georgia's quarterback. That guy, I don't think he's a pro quarterback, but that guy keeps making plays. I mean, it's just Stockton.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps making plays, and everyone downplays this kid. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback, but right now in the college game, he is really helping Georgia out big time. Simpson, I've never been a fan, and I
Yeah.
got ripped on by Alabama fans last week before the Georgia game, and then after it, I didn't get anything. So
You didn't
because I have
hear
a
a peep.
lot of
Yeah.
Alabama fans following me,
Yeah,
but
he needs another year, I think, at the college level. He's
I
got the
just don't.
tools, but he's just
I, I,
not
I
yet.
think he's got the physical tools, but I don't think he's. I just none of these guys excite me. I'm spoiled. I mean, I saw Dan Marino, I saw John Elway, and even What's his name? Aaron Rodgers, who the Raiders should have drafted. I can't believe they still didn't. I'm never over that. But you see these guys and you just see their talent and you go, man, these guys are stars. These
Yeah.
guys are great quarterbacks. And I haven't felt that in a long time. The last time I felt that kind of was with Jaden Daniels or with Caleb. And I kind of felt that with them, but I didn't feel that these are can't miss, but these guys could be stars. And I just,
Yeah.
Cam Ward, I didn't feel that way. I think he holds onto the ball just way too long. So,
What
um,
about Moore, Dante Moore at Oregon? I'm excited to see.
he's
I know
a,
the first
yeah,
game in the playoff they played James Madison. I'm not worried
yeah.
about that, but if they win, assuming they do, they get to play Texas Tech, which has a great defense. I'm excited to see.
Texas Tech, I love.
Yeah, like I want to see these guys, which is great. One of the things I'm loving about the college football playoff is that these top quarterback prospects are in that. So we're going to get to
Yeah.
see them, just like we saw Mendoza tested against Ohio State, and I love the way he responded after a tough start.
Hmm.
Like I want to see Dante Moore against that Texas Tech defense. I want to see if Ty Simpson can bounce back against Oklahoma. Like show me how you respond in these big pressure situations because playing at home in Tuscaloosa, sure, it's great. It's a great atmosphere. It's high pressure, but there's nothing like that one and done playoff
Yeah.
situation where I want to see how these guys perform.
The pressure. And Oklahoma, jeez, they should probably punt on second down every day because I've never seen a team go 2nd and 10 as much as Oklahoma. I was counting at one game 7 straight times. They were either 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 10. Who is calling their plays? But it's just their offense is the worst Oklahoma offense I've seen in years. It's maybe Jackson Arnold when he was quarterbacking after Caleb left, but it is horrific. They need to go back and run the ball. But yeah, I think Alabama beats my Sooners. I don't. I just see Oklahoma doing the same thing on offense. They haven't changed anything up. They just keep doing the same thing. That
It's hard to beat
defense
a team
is,
twice, so I can
yeah,
see that.
that too. And I think Alabama wins, and unless their offense shows up. But again, we'll have to see. But I think Mendoza's the best quarterback again. But I don't see any of these guys being can't miss prospects. And to me, this is the problem with the draft. That's why I always tell everybody, if you have a quarterback that now maybe someone does think he's the best player in college. If you think that, then draft him. But if you think this is a second round pick, in my mind, if you have the number one pick and you don't think he's a number one pick talent, I don't pick him. I would go back and get more talent. I don't draft for need like that if I'm a bad team. And I
Yeah.
think that's the problem is too many times they say, okay, well, this is the fifth best quarterback or the third best quarterback. I'm drafting fifth. I need a quarterback. I'm going to get him. No, if you
I
don't
think
like him, don't get him.
Yeah, I think quarterback is the one position where you kind of have to do that, where you have to draft for need because it's just such a premium position. Like at best, you're talking about, I don't know, 15 to 20 human beings on the planet that can do this job at not even a high level, just like an acceptable average level. I mean, you might end up with a bust. Obviously, that's the risk that you take. But I think I think it was, I'm forgetting the name, Josh Dubow from the Associated Press, who is a reporter. I'm
Oh, I
not
love Josh.
Yeah, he posted that I don't believe wins are quarterback stat, but I do believe winning is a big part of being a great quarterback. And he posted that the number of wins by quarterbacks and teams this season was like overwhelmingly by first round quarterbacks. So even if you're not drafting a Hall of Famer, like look at Denver, they have Bo Nix, who is a good quarterback. I don't think anyone would say he's great,
No.
but he's good. He's better than Paxton Lynch. He's better than Drew Lock. He's better than some of the other guys they've had. And they were able to build a team around him. You look at the Patriots, right? They were not great last year, but they built a team around Drake May. They built an offensive line. Caleb Williams, who we've been talking about, was not great last year because he was under siege a lot, all that stuff. This year, he's been able to improve his play. They built a team around him. So I just think that if you don't have an answer to that quarterback question, nothing else matters. And it might take a year or two, But once you get a guy that you think can be the guy, even if he's not Patrick Mahomes or Dan Marino or John Elway, like even if he is, a top 5, top 10 type quarterback, that's good enough to at least compete and contend. So I'm usually with you. Like if I need a guard or an offensive tackle, I'm not going to reach for a guy in the first round. But if I need a quarterback, more often than not, you're going to find the talent only in the first round. Like it's a rare exception for guys in the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever it is, to end up being like viable NFL starters. Not even talking about like Pro Bowl guys, just at least starters.
Well, I think now it kind of is that way because I think the quarterback position, the NFL has made it a cookie cutter position. People know if they're smaller, they're not going to get drafted. If they can't throw 60, 70 yards, they're not going to get drafted. So a lot of them, look at the Montana State quarterback. He broke all these records at FCS, and he knew he was 6 foot. He's not going to get a chance to play quarterback. So when the Raiders drafted him, he became a wide receiver. So I think part of it is that. But to me, I still disagree. If I think a guy is a first round pick and I'm going to take him, if I don't think he's a first round talent, I would trade up. I wanted the Raiders to sell the farm for Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels to me is an amazing talent. I think the problem with him is he gets hit too much. He's got to start being better about his body. He's taking too many hits. He holds on to the ball too long, which a lot of these quarterbacks do. But I'm just not. I like Mendoza, and if I was going to pick in the first round, he's really the only guy I would pick. Mm-hmm. Everyone was drooling over Ohio State's quarterback. The key stat to me in quarterbacks is third down conversion and what do you do in the red zone? Can you score touchdowns? Oklahoma has made it an art of kicking field goals in the frickin' red zone, and it drives me crazy. Their kicker's now breaking records for kicking field goals because that's all they do. They can't score in the red zone. And that's where Ohio State failed. They were getting the ball in between the 20s, but when they got in the red zone, they can't score touchdowns. Yeah. And that's why and then their kicker missed I think a 28-yarder or 30-yarder. Yeah, like that. So I mean, you can't do that. So, but I think Mendoza, I wish he would have stayed at Cal. But again, I get it.
Can't pass up. He's playing on the number 1 team in the country. You can't pass that up.
You do your thing. He knew Indiana was going to have a great team, and Indiana's a great coaching staff, great team. So, but I like him as a person and as a quarterback. Like I said, he doesn't give me those vibes where he's just a can't miss person. But he's a project that you could do. So yeah, it'd be interesting how he does in the pros. The rest of them, I have to be honest with you, I just don't get it. I don't see it. Yeah, but now another thing, was there any team that you thought there was a lot of people upset at Notre Dame not getting in and Alabama getting in with 3 losses? I personally, and I have a lot of Alabama friends, I've taken a lot of grief. And I've had friends in the media, but I think Alabama, it was ridiculous letting them get in. I just think that and everyone said of the SEC schedule, well, a lot of teams in the SEC had losing records. So, and they lost to Oklahoma, who has literally no offense. So I don't think it's as impressive, but you're telling me now that with 2 losses, Notre Dame can't get in, and then it's going to take 4 losses now for Alabama not to get in? I don't get it.
I guess maybe it's the fact that last loss was in the conference championship game, and I think one of the talks was like, we don't want to punish a team for getting to the conference championship and losing. So like if they were idle last weekend, like do they have a better shot at making the playoff than, losing to Georgia? No shame in losing to Georgia. I think the issue with Notre Dame is their schedule is always, it's a bunch of, powder puffs. They don't really have an impressive win. I think they only beat one ranked team this season. So just the fact that they're an independent is always going to hurt them. And I think that they operate like it's still the 90s or the 80s where they're still this big draw and, oh, we're Notre Dame and we're prestigious and all that. It's like, unless you're, over maybe 50 years old, like you don't really care about Notre Dame football. Like when was the last time they produced a superstar NFL player? When was the last time they had a player that had like, a legitimate chance at the Heisman? So I think it just the fact that they're, again, independent, they don't play a tough schedule, they get to, pick and choose who they want to play. It's not that impressive to me. So if the difference between them and Alabama is the fact that Alabama lost to, a ranked team in Oklahoma that's a playoff team, the fact that they lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game, like I'm not mad at Alabama getting in. I'm probably more mad about
Oh, if I was
James
Alabama, I'd
Madison
be.
getting in.
James
Yeah.
Madison, though, has had talent and that
Yeah.
has actually. I watch the lesser teams, unlike most everybody that just watches the top 10. I like James Madison a lot, and they've had a good team for a while. So, and don't sleep on Tulane. Tulane is
Yeah.
very talented and they're very good. They're well coached. Sumlin's a great coach. He's going on to Florida. He got hired at Florida. Very classy guy. Very good guy, great coach, tough nose, old school. So don't sleep on Tulane, especially with all the turmoil at Mississippi. Lane Kiffin just screwed that show up. That was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Now the only problem I have with Notre Dame, everybody says, well, they don't play anybody there. When the people that were talking about the vote were defending Miami and defending Texas A&M, they said, well, they beat Notre Dame. How could you sit there and say Notre Dame sucks? They don't have a good schedule, but yet the biggest win for Texas A&M is Notre Dame. Biggest win for Miami is Notre Dame.
I mean,
You can't have it both ways.
Texas A&M is 11 and
Yeah,
1,
but Texas A&M, they didn't play Georgia, didn't play Alabama, and they beat a 3-loss Texas team. They lost to a 3-loss Texas team.
True.
That's bad. So
Yeah, but that's the conference championship game. I think that's the thing is like,
but yet, why does BYU drop? BYU lost
Fair.
the championship game and they dropped. Alabama lost 2 of their last 4 games and didn't drop one spot. I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be the SEC bias. They're always going to have like the human element. If you have a college football, playoff committee, obviously they have like the automatic bids, but some of the non-automatic ones, it's like there's gonna be bias there, right? Like they're gonna be, oh, the SEC, it just means more, right? Football is bigger there, and I think basically if Notre Dame doesn't want this to happen again, then join the ACC. All the rest of your school or the rest of your sports are in the ACC, so just join a conference. I don't understand this this Notre Dame exceptionalism and all this stuff. Like I don't buy it. It's not 1985.
I think it was pure for money. I think at that time when they made the deal with NBC, Notre Dame was printing money. And now they don't have the same team. They don't have championships anymore, and they're not the big draw. They're still a big draw, but they're not what they used to be. And now they're kind of stuck because it's like you could be an independent and still be. I think Notre Dame could still be good. I would keep their schedule the way it is, but I would get 2 big-time teams. I'd get one big-time SEC team, and I'd get one big-time ACC team or Big Ten and try to make a home and home. Because usually when you make the schedule, it's 3 years ahead. Like Oklahoma has, I believe, I can't remember. It's some other Big Ten team that Oklahoma is going to have a home and home. Michigan, yeah, they're doing their Michigan. Yeah. And then I believe they have Ohio State in a few years. So they've got, I love that. Florida State used to run that way. Oklahoma used to run that way. So, but the thing is now, if you're going to tell, this is the problem I have with everything, and I overthink everything. But who has a deal with the SEC and ESPN financially? The NC2A.
Yeah.
Tell me that didn't go on with that. So that's the problem with that, where I have with all.
You want Alabama in there. It's ratings. Yeah.
Notre Dame ain't in their thing. Notre Dame isn't in their financial plans. Alabama is, Texas A&M is, Texas is, Oklahoma is. You want those guys in. And that's the big problem that I have with all this. You are not going to keep that. There was no way. And I told people this, there's no way they're keeping Alabama out. Money.
No,
They're
absolutely
never
not.
going to keep them out. And that's exactly what happened. People said, you're crazy. They're out. And I said, no way. You wait. It's going to take 4 losses for them to be out of the playoffs. And I was right. And I'm telling you, it's just the thing I think with I think Bill Belichick is probably going to be out. There's already rumors about him going back to Cleveland. I don't know if he'd do that, but you wonder because he's not for the college game. The college game
No,
is
it's a
compared
young
to the
man's game.
pros. Yeah, it's a totally different game. College is about recruiting and being organized and keeping things. NFL is about X's and O's. That's why a lot of these rah-rah college coaches suck in the pros, but in the college game, they're amazing. And vice versa. Pro coaches don't do well in college,
Yeah.
and it's vice versa. So I think that that's going to happen. Uh, where do you think, because Murray's probably going to leave the Cardinals, where do you think he's going to end up?
I'm really hoping it's not Las Vegas.
I
I'll
think it
say
is.
that. Oh man, I've never been high on him as a quarterback. I always thought he was too small. He's injury prone. He's making too much money. Maybe he ends up somewhere like like Minnesota. They've been able to turn some guys into like some reclamation projects. They made Carson Wentz look good this year. Maybe Indiana or Indianapolis, they decide to go with him over Daniel Jones and bringing him back because of the Achilles. And Shane Steichen has shown, a lot of he's had a lot of success with these mobile type quarterbacks. He was great with Jalen Hurts. He made Anthony Richardson look decent, and of course, he made Daniel Jones look like a Pro Bowler until he got hurt. So I'm hoping it's not Vegas. I would say probably Minnesota or Indianapolis because they have the room for that contract. I know the Raiders do too, but I'm hoping that they don't go down this road with him. They just go get a quarterback in the first round, and let's go from there.
Yeah, I think I would get him and sign him if he'd go for lower money for a couple years and use him as a go-between. I'd draft a good quarterback. If you really like Mendoza, take him. Raiders aren't going anywhere for the next couple of years. It's just not happening. And I think that they got to get a set quarterback, even if it's just an ordinary quarterback or okay quarterback.
Just
Murray
give me
will put a
Kenny
little.
Pickett. Give me Mendoza and
Oh,
send Geno Smith packing. I think it's only like a
oh,
$17
yeah.
million cap hit next season. Send him packing. Bring Kenny Pickett back.
It
I
would
don't
save
care.
money. It would
Yeah,
save money.
they would
I'll
save
pick.
money.
I can't.
Just
I can't
yeah.
handle Pickett. When Steeler fans were telling me what a star he was going to be, I was just like, "Oh my
I
god!"
think he's going to
But
surprise you this weekend. I'm actually worried that he's
oh,
going to play better than Geno, and actually give them a chance. Maybe not against Philly, but some of these other games. And I'm like, that's the last thing I want right now. I just go 2-15, please.
Gino needs 9 seconds to throw the ball, or else he's in big trouble. I've never seen a guy hold. I know that's the thing in the NFL now. These guys want
He's
five
got the
seconds to
yips.
throw the ball.
Yeah.
God, he just holds on to it so long. It drives me nuts. Then he throws bad passes. It's ridiculous. And the Raiders may have the best tight ends in the NFL. I mean, they've got 3 stud tight ends, good solid tight ends. I mean, I would go to a running game and with a tight end pass heavy because Meyer's great and Bauer obviously at times can't even be guarded. So that's what I would do. I'd go very very conservative, and I would do that because Geno Smith is he's hard to watch.
Yeah, and just
It's
spend
just
spend all that cap money on offensive line,
oh
build that up. But that's what I want. I do not want Kyler Murray. Give me Mendoza or Moore, and just give me a young quarterback to be excited about. And if you want to bring back Kenny Pickett or keep Aiden O'Connell as like your bridge guy for the first 4, 5, 6 games of the season, whatever it is, do that. But let's not mess around with it. Some more of these like veteran bridge type quarterbacks.
yeah, it's really hard because with so few quarterbacks really being good anymore or game changers, you want guys that won't mess it up. And the problem with Geno Smith, he messes it up. He's got too many turnovers. He doesn't read defenses. He's just horrible. And then he blames everyone else. I see him yelling at his receivers all the time. Like, what are you yelling at them for?
Yeah.
My God, they didn't do nothing.
I'm sure
So
that's not
yeah,
going over well in the locker room.
no, I don't think. And I hear already that teams are, and we got to get you out of here in a couple minutes. I already hear people saying in the off season they are going to offer a king's ransom for Crosby. What do you think he does? Because I know he says he loves the Raiders, but I'm telling you, boy, they are. He also says, I want to win and I
Yeah.
want to win now. And that was when I heard him say that, I thought, oh boy, well, he's not going to win now here. It's going
Yeah.
to take a year or two.
I
So,
think they need to sell him on a plan and a vision. I don't think Pete Carroll is the coach for that plan and vision. They need to go out and get someone that's going to inspire some confidence in Crosby, and then maybe he can wait till after the draft to see what happens there if they are able to get a quarterback that he approves of. But I know that the clock is ticking. I think he's still under contract for I think through the 2028 season, so they've got
yeah,
him locked down for a few years, but I'm hoping it does not become a Khalil Mack situation. It shouldn't be because they have him locked down, so he's not going to be itching for a new contract. But yeah, it just there has to be a clear vision, a clear plan. So I think that's why I don't want them to get rid of John Spytek just yet. I think some of the rookies are doing better, but I'm hoping that they can sell him on a long term vision because this is a type of guy that should be a Raider for life. Like no matter what,
yeah.
pay him what he wants. He's productive. He's a warrior. He's a great face of the franchise. He's a great role model in the community. All that stuff. Just don't make the same mistake again.
Yeah. Now I'm going to let you go. You got to get back, and you have a meeting to go to. But like I
Yep.
said, we're had a lot of fun talking to you, and we'll definitely catch up next week and during the week, and I'll close it out. But thanks so much for being here, and I know everyone enjoys it. You take care.
Thanks, James. Thanks, everybody.
All right, man. Now, Florence and I are going to be no rest for the wicked. Florence and I are going to be doing our podcast. We have a best-selling author whose book became a movie, and it is absolutely getting rave reviews online. And it's already, I think, quintupled its cost of making it, and it's over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the reviews are just blowing up. We're going to announce him tonight. So let's make sure that you guys come back, and we're going to be back on in about an hour, and we'll have author J.L. Rothstein with us. It's going to be, and we always have a lot of fun talking true crime, some of the crazy pop culture things that are going on. And boy, do we got a couple stories, but we really look forward to it. But the author live, we're going to have that, and we're going to announce it tonight, and we're going to be doing that Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, I believe. So, 4 p.m. Eastern. And we'll give you all the information for that. So we'll see you in a little while. I'm going to get some honey and tea and maybe a little brandy to make my throat be better. We've been doing a lot of shows, but like I said, we'll see you in about an hour. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us.